Hey, my name is Natalie Mead. We're getting into the third part of how do you build an application on Snowflake and how do you collaborate.
Essentially, you've got an app store or a data store. Customers can do a search on our marketplace to find data sets that's available to them, both free and also at cost. They can actually join their data directly inside their Snowflake account.
Discover is a window for us into the world of Snowflake developers.
We're going to go through an end-to-end scenario of building a data application with Snowflake. We're going to start with a database, building that on Snowflake, build a backend API that connects securely to that database and grabs the data for us, serves it out to a front-end application and visualizes it.
This is proving that we're real people.
We are real people, yes.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Farhan Chaudhary. I am the evangelist for Snowflake in India, and I welcome you all to Snowflake Discover, where we are discovering applications and collaboration on Snowflake. Now, we have done applications yesterday. We did Zero to App series. It was brand new content. Well, nobody had seen it before. So everyone in the APJ region in Australia, New Zealand, and India got to see it first, and we would think of all of us being lucky to have seen some amazing content from our speakers yesterday. But today is the day of collaboration. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, I welcome you all in our session on data clean rooms. And for those of you who are joining us from the previous session, I welcome you back. Now, what we did in the previous session, we went through some of the basics of collaboration on Snowflake. We did a marketplace 101. We saw some architecture, design patterns that you could consider. We answered some questions around availability. We answered some questions also around general marketplace and some of the hygiene that you could establish at your organization if you were considering using the marketplace for your use case. But for those of you who are entirely new to Snowflake Discover, let me give you a quick walkthrough of what we are doing here. Snowflake Discover, as the name says, we are discovering Snowflake as a platform, how it's a single cohesive platform that helps eliminate silos, simplify architectures, and makes it really easy for data practitioners such as yourselves to get access to a really easy to use, programmable, flexible, open platform that helps you build models, helps you build leading applications, and helps you deliver them at scale in a secured and governed fashion. That's what Snowflake is. Now, for those of you who are new, just a couple of housekeeping items. This is a live-only event. This means it's not recorded, but it's not for your dismay. We are going to be sharing a lot of the content, the slides, the quick starts with all of you in the link that we have at the bottom. So while I talk over this slide, just take a quick screenshot and scan this QR code later on. We are going to populate all of the content on this link, so make sure that you check it out in the next few days. We are going to paste it in the chat window as well for all of you who are not going to be, scanning the QR code. But yeah, this is a live-only event. As Natalie said, no bots. We are live-only humans. I can wave my hands at you like this, and we see Navneet smiling. That's not scripted, so that's good. You can use the Zoom Q&A feature to ask questions from us. We have experts on hand. We also have Ritesh on our panel. He's an expert at what he does, and he'll answer all of your questions for you in a matter of seconds. So ask as many questions as you'd like. It's not too late to invite your friends, your colleagues to Discover. So if you have people that you feel would benefit from this content, benefit from data clean rooms, essentially around secure data collaboration, how can you securely share your data with other entities, with other cross-border suppliers or what have you? This is the session for you. And once again, we are going to be sharing the content that our experts have curated for you at this link. So make sure that you just grab this link and check it out in the next few days. We'll populate this for you. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. We are there on LinkedIn. Drop us a connect request, say a hi, and we'll get this content to you in no time. That being said, a quick history lesson. We have been doing Discover for the past couple of months. Part one, we covered data lake, data warehousing. Part two, we covered data engineering and data science, and boy, oh boy, was it really well attended. We had so many questions. I think we averaged out about 200 questions in each session. So needless to say that I think it was one of the most sought after content that we had in this series. But not to oversell data engineering and data science. Applications and collaboration is we feel is the way to go for data. So you can go from data to insights, but to go from insights to productizing your data, to monetizing your data, to really empowering different business users, different stakeholders with the power of applications is what really sets organizations apart. And this is what we are doing in part three. We are covering applications and collaboration, and we are essentially covering what the future looks like for data the way we see it. Now, for those of you who have been with us throughout this entire journey, we promised that we'll do a part four, a surprise part four. I'm happy to announce that it's going to be the Best of Summit. Summit is our global conference that is held in Las Vegas. It'll be done in the next couple of weeks. We're going to be doing it in the last week of June, and we are going to bring all of the announcement, all of the fresh, hot off the press content from Summit to you and deliver it to you in the form of Discover. It's absolutely free of cost, so make sure that you join us. The theme for Summit is data, applications, and AI. So we are going to be covering a lot of generative AI content. We are going to have a lot of LLMs. There's a session on feature stores. We are going to be doing sessions on optimization. We'll be bringing our sought out speakers once again, Nick and Vishu and all of them. The gang will be here. So make sure that you join us, and we'll take you through that journey together. Now, just a quick overview. We have already gone through Marketplace 101, and now we have with us our very own expert, our very own legend, warrior, and also an Iron Man, because he's quite an athlete. We have Navneet, who's joining us from New Delhi. He's going to walk us through secure data collaboration, how you can leverage data clean rooms. So with no further ado, let me introduce to all of you our very own Iron Man. Navneet, are you here with us? Good morning.
Thanks, Farhan. Thanks for our introduction. So I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are. Take it away, my friend.
So I think, since Farhan has given a wonderful introduction, so without wasting time, let me share my screen. And I'm afraid that my content is too much to cover in the 80 minutes. So try to cover as much as, but this is not the end. If you have any questions, if you want to have a kind of a one-to-one session, we're happy to come to your office and discuss that further. However, the idea here is that to explain you that what are all the different ways of collaboration and how data clean room can help you to achieve certain I'll say that business objectives, which otherwise is either very complex or impossible in any other technology platform. So giving you just a background, so those who have joined yesterday's session or the previous Discover might find it repetitive, but it's good to kind of give a introduction with our this basic slide. So basically, when we talk about Snowflake, it is a data cloud. When we talk about data cloud, it is not just the platform, but it is the content also, that content within your organization, with your partners, third party. So data cloud is the combination of a platform and the content. As a Snowflake, it offers you a very robust, elastic, and scalable platform. On the top of that, you can enable various workloads, as we have discussed that while data lake and data warehouse is the foundational workload. On the top of that, you can enable data engineering, data science, and others. But today we will focus in this next 80 minutes, we'll focus on the collaboration. So when we talk about collaboration, basically you have data, you have enriched it with using your data engineering and with your data science capabilities, you have enriched this data, how to share it with others, or other part is that you want to enrich this data. You have a best of breed your data science platform, but if you don't have data, how will you enrich that? For that, probably you may require to collaborate with your partners, get their data, and then combine it with your own existing first-party data with the help of your state-of-the-art data science platform. So collaboration is basically a way where you can enrich your data, or you can help your partners or customers to enrich their data from your platform. So when we talk about collaboration, there are various ways. Again, it might be repetition, but I think it will set the context that what we are going to discuss in the next 1 hour. So when we talk about collaboration, there are various ways in Snowflake. One is that Snowflake Marketplace. You go get some publicly available data like weather data, COVID data, macroeconomic data. Just there are more than 1,800 publishers are there. You can go and subscribe that, and the moment you subscribe that, it becomes part of your, I'll say that, database catalog, where along with your first party data, your own data, you can combine these data. And also within your organization, you may have different functions, different departments, your partners. With them, you would like to create your own private data exchange where you can freely and securely share your data. There could be a scenario where not all of your partners or all of your customers are on the Snowflake. For them, you can create a reader account, or what we call as a managed or referral account, so that you can securely share the data with them. And on this reader account, they can connect their applications and leverage the insights that is being exposed by you. However, these are the ways to share the data. But what happens if you have a PII kind of data? You have your customers' private and sensitive data. Even in the finance domain, a lot of sensitive data is there. That means maybe you can publish it after your quarterly result, but before that, it is very sensitive and private information. You may not like to, or your compliance team will prohibit you to freely share those data, yet you would require to enable analytics on the top of that. You would require to collaborate with others. So for that, there is a unique concept called data clean room. By definition, you may Google it, you will find a lot of definition of the clean room, but one of the simplest definition that I appreciate is that data clean room is an environment where you can keep and protect your private and sensitive data, yet on the top of that, you can share and collaborate and create the insights for others also. So if you see that data clean room by definition covering two extreme parts. One is that PII sensitive data collaboration, PII sensitive data compliance part. On the other side, it is the collaboration part. So it is a kind of a unique concept that gives you this kind of freedom to collaborate without compromising your sensitive and PII data. So there are various examples are there. Here I have just given you one of the example that typically in the ad tech or marketing is there, where different, I'll say that entities are there. For example, brands. That could be my FMCG brand, or that could be white goods brand, or it could be anyone who wants to publish their ad of their products. But they would like to understand that whatever with the audience or whatever with the customer base that they have, whether it is having all those attributes with which they can send the promotions. For that, probably they would like to come to just a second. Yeah. They would like to enrich it. So there could be another party who has a kind of lot of attributes for the given customer set. Then you would require a kind of a platform where you can publish your ad. So if you see all these entities having their customers' data, which is private and sensitive, yet without physically moving the data out of their Snowflake account, they will be able to collaborate, find out those matching rate, overlaps and other things on this safe environment, which we call it as a clean room. So there are 2-3 principles that we should appreciate that what is the philosophy behind the Snowflake data clean room is that no one will physically move their data out of their account. Customer data remains on their respective accounts. It is not physically moving out. Yet you can securely join this, come up with those overlaps so that you can plan your campaign and go ahead without leaking your private and sensitive data. There are certain examples. These are publicly available. You just go to our website and search for this. You will get a lot of examples here. I'll give you one example here, the Disney ad. So basically, they have created a ad sale platform on the top of Snowflake, where any of their partners can come with their audience data. They can leverage the Disney ad sales data clean room to identify their match rate. If it is as per their expectation, they can go ahead and start the campaign activation and other things. So there are different, a lot of examples are there. We can discuss it in details. If you want, we can have a one-to-one session with you and your team on those things. Let's have a slight deep dive into the introduction of the data clean room. So as this picture illustrates that you have certain data set, for example, party B. They want to enrich their data. For that, they would like to collaborate with other parties, say party A. So here, while doing this, just think about a traditional platform. You'll have to expose all your data. Party A also has to expose all their data and then do the joining and find out what is common, what is additional data that we have. But in Snowflake, you don't have to expose your PII data. It's completely secure. And whenever it comes to security, a lot of things, but people think that it must be very complicated. A lot of tedious algorithms are there, but it's extremely easy. I'll give you one example in the subsequent session. And on the top of that, it's elastic, scalable. So it gives you behind the curtain, it gives you a very powerful compute engine so that your ad hoc queries or something means you cannot govern that. What could be the concurrency? What could be the load that is coming on your system? So your platform is fully prepared that. Just coming back. And while doing this, the couple of Snowflake features that we leverage out of the box, just couple of the, I'll say that the features are mentioned here, but there are detailed features that I'll explain to you. So fundamentally, we leverage the Snowflake's data sharing capability where you don't have to physically leave your data and physically transfer it to another system. So we follow that data sharing concept. And also who is viewing what, that we also control using row access policies. Might be your different partners are there with the different interest. So depending on that, who wants to view your data, you can apply a row access policy as a data provider. And all this logic is being protected within the stored procedures, so that if someone is executing it, they are not aware that what is the logic, what is your IP is there with which you are processing the data. So let's have an illustration that how a campaign planning happens. So first thing is that someone has to understand their customer data. For that, they'll have to identify what is the target customer. And as you know that those cookies and other things are not the future. You'll have to rely on the first party data. And once you get first party data using the data clean without compromising your PII data, what you need to do is that you'll have to enrich your audience or the customer's attributes. It could be deterministic, and if you want, you can take those probabilistic attributes also and to enrich your customers' data. And once you have started doing a campaign, then very important aspect is that what is the performance of that campaign? What is the ROI of that campaign? So all those measurements you get on this platform. So how the technically data clean room helps you? First thing is that audience matching. Suppose you as a brand want to have published certain ad, but you want to have a very targeted campaign. For that, you may require to collaborate with your enrichment agency. those first party data can match using some of the matching IDs. That could be mobile number, email ID, or whatever with the mutually agreed IDs. Basis on that, you can match those data. Once that matching is done, you will get more attributes to do the segmentation, identify that which campaign or which product is suitable for which type of targeted segment, and or vice versa, that this is my target segmented, this is their attributes, which product I should map it with that. And once that is done, you start your campaign, then you'll need to get the ROI of those campaigns. So all those measurements are available on the Snowflake using that data clean room features. So here, let's understand more that what are all those features. I'm sure you must have gone through our previous sessions, and you must be aware of some of our feature governance, security, and scalability features on. So we leverage some of those features. I'm just naming here. If you have any question around that, you can ask a question. But I assume that we all are aware that what is row access policies, what is the stored procedures, and what is the data sharing. Apart from that, we are also trying to make it more easier for you. Though even today, a lot of our customers are using data clean room functionalities. We would like to make it more simplified using our native application, as Farhan mentioned. Stay tuned for a more announcement in the next couple of weeks post our summit in the June end. We are going to announce a lot of things around the native application, where you just have the get the application from the marketplace, just subscribe that and start using that. Also, as we mentioned, that you may not just limit yourself from the deterministic attributes. You may would like to have some probabilistic attribute with certain confidence level. You would like to assess your campaign or customers' attributes. For that, we are going to make it easier for you using Python user-defined function, so that you can collaborate, means you can enhance your capabilities using the machine learning capabilities. And also we are going to introduce, that is in our roadmap, how to join different fields without being viewing them, so that you can implement more security, robust security with easy to implement steps. So while protecting the data, if we think about the traditional or the pure play theoretical aspects, then there are two parts how to protect the data. First is that we define the access like role-based access, so that I can control that who is viewing what tables, what data that I'm going to allow them. Row level access policies, role-based access, all these are there already in your Snowflake platform. On the top of that, we may put some additional security features, like who should be allowed to fire which type of query. Means if you see traditionally, if you allow access on a table to any user, they can fire any type of queries, may be optimized, may not be optimized. You cannot straightforward control that. But when you define that this type of users can only fire this type of query, you can templatize that, then you will have some additional control. And in Snowflake Data Clean Room, we are combining both of these features. So what we do basically, that we create a query template that I will show you in my demo. In the subsequent slides, I will show you that how this template looks like. Then once that template is there, then we apply the row access policies, so that you can understand that if your partner one is there, partner one may access, say, 10 out of 100 rows. Partner two is there, they may access 20 of those 100 rows. So you can define that who should see which row, so that it gives you an additional kind of a governance. And then to access that data, you just allow other party or other your consumers to go through that template so that you can validate that and allow or disallow them to execute those queries. So let me give you a very this is my favorite section. So just to give you that how data clean room looks like in Snowflake, we have taken one academic scenario which is called Yao's Millionaire. So basically, it is not a new concept. Almost 40 years back, one of the computer scientists has come up with one of the scenarios where there are two guys, Alice and Bob, both wants to understand who is richer. The simplest way is that both show that I have X amount, I have X plus Y amount, and so X plus Y amount is bigger, so that person is richer. But the rule of game here is that no one is going to share that how much wealth they have. Yet you'll have to identify who is the richer. If we talk about any other system, they have come up with some cryptographic algorithms to do that, which is very, I'll say that complicated. We do the same thing in Snowflake with the very easy, as I mentioned, row access policies, template, and other things, so which is very easy for you to understand, and hence you can make those changes as per your requirement very easily. So let's understand how this happens. So we have Alice and Bob, both have certain wealth with themselves. One is 111, 125. Alice wants to know who is richer. But when Alice goes to Bob, and what the question that Alice will ask, that how much wealth you have, and Bob will not disclose that I have 125 wealth. How Alice will know that who is richer? What the Bob is doing, that he's first putting a access policy that if it is an account admin or Bob himself, he would be able to see any of the data from this table. But if it is not account admin or Bob, then they'll have to go through this approved query statement. And he defined that this is the approved query statement. So anyone other than account admin and Bob is coming, they are allowed to execute only this query. And if you see in this query, nowhere it is mentioned that what is the wealth of Bob. Now, when Alice comes and execute this, Alice gets the result that Bob is richer without knowing that what is the PII, what is the sensitive data, which is the nothing but the wealth that Bob is carrying, but yet Alice get the result. So this is how the Snowflake data clean room works, where you don't have to physically share or expose your PII data, yet you will be able to support your partner with their analytical insights. So this is how in the GUI it looks like. Alice file not approved, Alice will get no result. So Alice is basically a consumer, Bob is the provider. So consumer will be able to access only that data in that template which is allowed by the provider. Hence, as a provider, you can secure your PII data. Yet on the top of that, you will help your partners with their analytical result. So let's go slightly deeper into that how the architecture looks like. So we have so what type of templates that you can get? One is that audience overlap. So these are not I'll say that hard and fast or very rigid templates. You can create your own templates. All that you have to define is that for the given template, what should be your allowed attributes that you have to define, and accordingly you can define your own template. So typically, when we talk about campaigning, then these are the few templates that most of the entities will use. That either they want to see the overlap, that means they have certain data sets, they want to see match rate with the provider having more, I'll say that enriched data sets. So one thing is that overlap. Then if I want to enrich my own audience, then I may collaborate with other party to enrich my data sets. For example, if I have say 10 attributes and I want 5 additional attributes, so might be some data enrichment agency can help me with those additional 5 attributes. So I can work with that partners on the enrichment. In those scenarios, since I want to enrich my data, then I will be the consumer and other party will be provider. So how this template looks like. So here, when you, as a provider, you want to define that what type of queries or what type of data that my consumer can access. For that, this is the how you define the template. Here, if you see, you define that what are those attributes that you allow your partner to access. Maybe for one partner, you will define that they should be able to see 5 attributes. For another, you want to have 10 attributes. So accordingly, you can create those templates. Accordingly, you can have those role-based access and other things. And then you define that what should be the filtration criteria and what has to be kind of a joining condition from which of your dataset table you would like to expose your consumers. So once you define that, what you offer to your consumer is what template they would like to access, which is overlap, and then what the attributes they want to share, means that they want to get it from you. So C means consumer. So consumer has certain attributes, but from you as a provider, they would expect, for in this example, status. They would like to get the status from you. So they will execute these stored procedures and get all those details. So similarly, this is how your template looks like. You have defined what all those attributes are there, what all those from which table you would like to give the access, and what is the joining condition. For example, here it is the email based. So that's how your configured template will look like. So now understand a bit more in detail that when you are as a consumer, when you want to access the data, then what is happening at the backend? Because provider will not execute all of your queries blindly. They will validate it, and basis on their template, they will either allow you or reject it. So let's understand that in a more detailed way. Just give me a second. So essentially, when we talk about any DCR environment, essentially it is minimum 2 parties has to be there. So one could be my provider, another would be my consumer. So let's take an example. I am a sports brand. I have sports shoes. I have a sports T-shirt and various other accessories. I want to publish an ad, but I don't know a lot of attributes of my customers. Means people are coming to my showroom. They are giving me their name, address, mobile number, and various other things. But still, I am not aware of a lot of their attributes. So for that, I would require some kind of enrichment agency who can become my provider. So with the help of that, I would like to get more attributes of my customers who are coming to my storeroom. so that I understand them in a better way, and accordingly I can create the campaign and run the campaign on those targeted audience. So my first requirement is that get the details of those customers from the provider. So here, what will happen that both I, as a sportsman who is a consumer, I have certain data sets, certain customer attributes are there. Let's say 5 attributes are there. There are some other agencies who have, say, 50 attributes of those customers. And I would like to get those attributes so that I can define more granular segment of my customers. For that, what we'll do that, if you think about a traditional architecture, what will happen that you will ask a provider to give the data, and this data will physically come to my consumer. And the moment this happens, your PII data will get compromised. So we do not want that to happen. So what we will do first, we create a DCR setup between these two entities. So first thing, as a provider, because it is provider's data that is that he is means helping his partners who are consumer. So more and more, I'll say that check and balances, security steps will involve on the provider side, so that no data will just get leaked without a proper check and balance. So for that, what the provider will do that they will set that how many attributes, what all the attributes are there that he would like to enable for the consumer. So he defines the attributes, and then he defines that what is the joining condition. It could be mobile number, it could be email, or it could be maybe device ID, or whatever we mutually agreed between both parties. And then this, as a template, what I have shown it earlier, has been stored in the metadata of the provider. So in this example, let's assume that these are the 7-8 attributes are there. So what will happen that as a consumer, if I would like to know the customer's state, postal code, education status, credit rating, and other things, I'll be able to get that. But if I want to know the gender of the customer, since gender is not listed here, it will not, the query will fail. So in order, if you want, as a consumer, if you want gender also, then you'll have to request provider to add gender as a allowed attributes in this list. Otherwise, it will not be exposed to my consumer. So in this way, provider has a control what type of attributes, what type of data he is going to expose. Now this as available values, or the list or catalog, whatever you call it, is also stored as a metadata in the provider's account. Now, when I, as a consumer side, as an analyst, would like to access those attributes, I want to say enrich my audience or customer data. What I will do that I will try to access or those data using stored procedures. Since I am using the stored procedures, so as a provider, I can I'll say that abstract a lot of logic that I am processing. So when analyst wants to get that, so he will file a query on his or her own account. He's not going to hit the provider's account. All activities that he or she will do is on the consumer account itself. So the moment they ask for those attributes, ask for those, say, overlap or enrichment, that goes as a request. And the moment the new request comes, it goes to my provider account to validate that. Where it will validate, for example, I have a postal code. If my query has only postal code, which is matching the template allowed queries, it will allow. But if I say having salary or gender, which is not in that list, then that validation will obviously fail. So consumer here has requested for those overlap or enrichment. That request has gone to my provider side, where basis on those template, they are going to validate that. And let's assume that that request has been approved. So what will happen here is that using the secure data share, all this metadata between these two parties are shared across. Means I, as a consumer, well aware of that, what is the template, what is the allowed values, those 7 or 8 attributes or 10 attributes or 15 attributes. I am well aware of that, because all this metadata are getting shared across, and we are using the same functionality or same architecture of data sharing, where these are not physically copied. So as a provider, if I change the template, automatically it will get reflected on the consumer side. There's no ETL, no refresh is required. All happen by Snowflake. So you don't have to do anything on the additional on the top of that. So now, as a consumer, I requested with certain attributes, which we assume that has been approved by provider because it is matching the template. All those values, attributes are within the available values. So what will happen? Now the real execution will start. And while doing this, what will happen that my row access policy basis on my approved query template. So this row access policy, just assume that it will act as a firewall, and only those results that has been approved by provider will be accessible to my consumer. And once the consumer get that data, then they can use it for their campaign and further activities. So this is the steps that is happening, and these objects, which like my templates, available values, requests, all these which are the shared object between these two parties, becomes the Snowflake DCR environment. So it is not a physical, I'll say that a physical entities. It is, I'll say that this is a logical environment, because still the data physically is there in the respective accounts. So enough of slides. Let me show you that whatever I have shown you in the slide, how actually it looks like. So let me just show you that. So here I have a provider account where I have certain certain templates that I have defined. So let me show you here. So here, as I've shown you, that I have certain templates, like what is customer overlap, what is multi-party overlap. So these are the different template that I have defined. If you see at the bottom, there is some enrichment template also I have defined, like customer enrichment. So while doing this, in each template, what is the attributes that I'm going to expose? What is the condition? What is the joining condition? What is the filtration criteria? Everything I have defined in this template. So anyone who is out of this template, for example, let me just show you. I hope this font is visible to you, Farhan. Is it visible, or should I increase it a bit?
Yeah, if you could just increase the font size, yeah.
Yeah. Is it better now?
Much better, yeah.
Yeah. So let's take that. I have created a customer overlap, and here means I have defined that these are here I can define the attributes. These are the filtration criteria and other things. And at the bottom, I have defined that what are all those attributes that should be the part of this. So here, from the consumer side, zip is there, status is there. From the provider side, P stands for provider side. So from the provider side, I can access only status and age band. So if there is a marital status, gender, salary band, whatever is there, if I try to access with that, since it is not listed here, my query will be rejected by the provider. So as a provider, I have defined that what should be the template, what should be the allowed value. So this is as one-time activity, one-time configuration. When I did it first time, it took 15 minutes for me. I think you guys are smarter, can do it in 5 minutes also. So once I define the template, the next part that I'll have to define is that on the consumer side, when they fire the query, how should I validate that? How should I respond that? So for that, in Snowflake, what I have done that I have defined, if you see certain task, what that task will do that it will run continuously. And the moment I fire the query, you can see that the task is there. The moment I fire the query, it validates and respond with the qualified or failed query, or either allow it or disallow that. So all this happens at this point of time. So now I'm coming to the consumer side. So what the consumer has to do that. So consumer first means they can go and request the query. So for example, here, as a consumer, I want to get the overlap. For that, I have my zip account, and I want to get it further, enrich it with the status and age band from the provider side. For that, I will just fire this query. So what is happening here is that when I am doing it from the consumer side, it will not execute immediately. As you can see that request has been sent to the consumer, to the provider side. And if I just show you, so this request has gone, and this is the query that I have just fired, and this has been approved. So how it is getting approved? Because on the provider side, I'm running this task. So I'm running in such a way that every 10 seconds, it validates the new request and either approved it or rejected. So if you see that there are certain queries that I have tried, which was where I have tried with some other attributes, which was not the part of template. So it failed that query. It failed to approve those queries. So what is this query that is there? So this is the actual query that has that got generated. And if I just fire this query, let me just fire this query and see the result. So you can see that here when I fire the query, zip code is coming from my own database. Status is coming from my provider side. Age band is coming again from the provider side, and this is the count. So what is happening here is that I have not, means I as a consumer have not been exposed to that who is that guy who is in the age band of 40. Those name and other attributes are completely protected here. Yet provider is able to give me a result that in your zip code, I have 57 customers with the age band of 40. So this way, provider is helping me to give me the overlap count, and basis on that, how the I as a consumer, what the action that I will do. I understand that on this zip code, these are the youngsters, these are the senior citizens are there. So in this zip code might be, I have a higher catchment area, then accordingly, I will plan my campaign. I will accordingly go and activate that on the various media platforms. So this overlap analysis gives me that insights from the provider side without provider being exposing their customers sensitive data like name, exact age, and other things. So here, one thing is that you have seen that I, as a consumer, have to do what? Run this SQL, then generate this template and execute that manually. I'm sure that this is not how you would expect in your production environment. You would like to have some kind of application, some front end where you just focus on your kind of a business rules and get the results. So here comes, as you see, that we are talking about both collaboration as well as the application. And as Farhan mentioned, that application is something where we have a very high focus. So for this demo purpose, I have one Streamlit application from the front end itself, where I'm just abstracting all those SQLs, all those manual process. And here, now I'm a business user. I want to understand my overlap. Apart from overlap, these are the different templates for which I am allowed by my provider. So I'm just using my overlap. I'll do the same exercise what I have done it using the backend SQLs. Now I want to see that what is the overlap between my data and the provider's data. From my side, C stands for the consumer, which I own. P stands for the provider, which my other party owns. So I'll just take the zip. I just take the age band. If you want to take status, take the status. Now I will submit that. So what is happening that my query has been submitted. And the next step will be that it has to be approved or rejected by my provider. So now what the provider is doing, that provider is running this task basically at the back end, and with its result, whether it is success or failed. Oh yeah, it is approved. Once approved, then actual query gets executed, and here is the result. So this way you can just avoid all those kind of complex SQL writing and other things which not everyone is comfortable. So do those configuration once at the backend with your team. If not, then you can ask from Snowflake to configure that. We have a professional services there who can help you out. Once one-time configuration is done, you can create your own front end. The way I have done it on the Streamlit, you can leverage this Streamlit and create your own front end. Otherwise, we have a lot of our partners also who have created some beautiful front end, so that you just focus on the business rule and enable with your number of your other parties, enable those DCRs very quickly. So this is the demo that I would like to show you, means apart from the what I have shown in the slides. So this is how actually it looks like in your Snowflake environment. What I would highly recommend that go to the Quick Start Snowflake, and just so if you go to the Quick Starts, you will see lot of hands-on topics are there. Just go and just see for clean room. So you'll get these two examples. If you are comfortable with the Snowflake as on today, you can try this. It is very easy to deploy. Just go step-by-step process, and all that you require is that to test that two Snowflake account. One could be your consumer, other could be your provider. And once you are comfortable, you can do kind of a POC with your actual business partners also. So when you go here, it is first thing is required is to have a two Snowflake account. And there are a lot of contents. The slides that I have shown, you can get some of the videos here, which is very easy to understand. And then how to install that step-by-step process. I have done it a number of times. So I can assure you that there's no missing piece. You just have to follow step by step, and there are a lot of automation that our team has done so that it makes your installation configuration simple for you. And best part is that whatever with the time that is given on the right top, it takes almost same, means plus minus 5-10% could be there, but it gives you a fair idea that how much time it is going to take to do this setup. So I would highly recommend you to go through this documentation. It will really help you a lot to understand that how Snowflake can enable a DCR in your environment. However, still, if you have some doubt, don't hesitate to contact us or our partners to get more details on that. So let me, from demo, let me come back to cover the rest of topic. So now what we have talked so far is that you are a consumer, other one is the provider. So basically, it is a kind of a two-party agreement. But we understand that this is not how the actual I'll say that business works. You may require multiple, I'll say that parties to enrich your data, because not anyone can have all the universe. So you have to understand that if someone, some providers have a kind of a, let's assume that travel specific attributes, someone may have a payment gateway like attributes. You would like to have both attributes to understand your customer better. In that case, probably what you would require is to create a kind of a multi-party DCR setup. How that happens? So in Snowflake, you don't have to kind of do a lot of re-engineering. We offer you practically unlimited multi-party setup that you can do with your own Snowflake. There are certain, I'll say that DCR offerings are there, but they are limited to say just 5 multi-parties or 6 multi-parties, something like that. There is no as such limitation in the Snowflake. So as I mentioned that, suppose you are a consumer, you would like to have certain certain attributes from say some measurement agencies, then you would require some ID resolution. You would like to publish your ad on the multiple platforms. Then in that case, you would require to create a multi-party data clean room. And again, I'll just like to highlight another quick start offering. What I have shown here is that how to build a multi-party clean room. So it is nothing but if there are more than two entities are there, how you can manage that. So again, here step-by-step process is there. All that you need is that more than 2 Snowflake trial account, and once you are comfortable, you can actually try it with your end customers. Farhan, am I audible? Because I'm getting some internet breakdown kind of message. Am I audible?
You're audible. Maybe what we can do is you can turn off your video in the interest of saving some bandwidth for the audio. The audio seems to be fine.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks. So that's how we enable a multi-party data clean room. So how this helps me? So one of the example that we have here is that you are the consumer, and maybe that there are 2 data providers are there. And when you get that, then it's not that 5 plus 5 is 10. There could be certain customers who might be overlapping between provider X and Y. So for you, it is not that 5 and 5 becomes 10. So So when we go with this kind of multi-party setup, we'll have to understand that what is the overlap. And let's understand in this way that I want to enrich my data. I have a provider X who is having say 5 million, another one is having 3 million. Total could be that 8 to 9 millions, but it can also be possible that both providers have some common customers. In that case, it's not exact the 8 million or 8.8 million that you will get. You will get some. You have to get something 6.8 million customers attributes. So this is what happens when you go with these kind of a multi-party scenarios. Then you not only get what is the total customers, but you also understand that what is going to be there, the overlap. Hence, you can easily reduce or detect those overlaps. So these are some of the inherent benefits that we get very easily. I hope I was able to explain these features with the clarity. However, on the top of that, let me give you some of the basics that so far what we have talked about. What is data clean room? How we can support various functionalities like two parties collaborations without compromising the data and other things. However, still, let me share my screen again.
Navneet, Ritesh, while you go
Yeah.
through the content, there is one good question around how does the costing work out in this case? Is it on the consumer side, provider side? If there is time, and if you could just touch base on that, that will be useful.
Great question. So let me just come to this slide again. So as a basic principle of data Snowflake is that when we do the okay, let me come one step back. When we talk about data sharing, what is happening is that when I fire the query, then my compute gets utilized. So if I am the consumer here, then only my compute resource will be used. So as a provider, whether consumer is firing 5 queries, 10 queries, or 100 queries, it won't cost anything on the provider side. All that they have to do is that prepare their customer data and store it. They will have to only pay the storage cost, and on the top of that, since they are running these tasks to validate the every queries, so as a provider, you have two components. One is the storage, and one to run your validation task. Which I'll say that very lightweight activities that you are doing to maintain the security and governance. Apart from that, any query that is getting fired will be charged to source or the consumer side. Hope I'm able to answer that.
Thanks, Navneet. If there's anything follow up, I'll come up again.
Sure. So one thing that I would like to cover here is that we have talked about DCR, and you will find that DCR is a kind of a very similar to data sharing, but let's understand that what is the difference between data sharing and a DCR. So at various places, you might have seen that when I have shown the architectural capabilities and other things, then I have covered that DCR is not just the data sharing, but data sharing plus row access policies plus stored procedures plus various other templates and various other constraints. So let's understand that in a elaborate way. So how you identify that this is going to be your DCR opportunity or a simple data sharing opportunity? It is pretty simple. When you have to kind of two parties have to share their data, collaborate the data without physically copying that, data sharing is good enough. But the moment it comes that you want to protect you want to protect your data, PII data, you want to put certain restriction on the query templates, the way you are, other parties consuming your data. If you put those conditions, then it becomes a data clean room kind of scenario. So will not, I'll say that overburden you with a lot of concept and other things. The only difference is that in data sharing, your consumer can access any amount of data at any given point of time, whatever the table, whatever the view that you have exposed within that table, within that view, they can fire any type of queries, maybe optimized, maybe non-optimized. They can come and access the data. However, in case of DCR, you will give them the template of query and they have to execute their queries within the boundary of that template. And while creating that template, you ensure that your PII is not getting exposed, or not just the PII or any other attributes that you do not want to expose. Using the template, you control that. However, in both scenarios, the consumer who is firing the query, their compute get utilized, and they'll charge for their own compute. You as a provider have just kept the data in your storage, and that's it. And you'll have to pay only for that storage price. The same thing I would like to depict in a different way, that a lot of their commonalities between data share and data clean room. Where these two are different is that when you allow to view and join the sensitive data, in data sharing, it is possible because you don't templatize that. You cannot restrict once you have exposed your view or table. But within that table, if you put some template so that you can protect your PII data, that you can very well do that. And also, when it comes to other things like you want to expose underlying all the columns, and whether you want to have a differential, say, privacy requirement. So, for example, for a consumer one, you want to expose 5 attributes. For consumer 2, you want to expose a different set of attributes. That you can do it in data clean room. But once you expose a view or a table or the number of columns, then probably you don't have control on in the data sharing part. So in summary, when it comes to PII sensitive data, that could be financial data, that could be customer data. If you have to have additional protection on the top of that, think about the data clean room. Otherwise, the data sharing itself is more than sufficient for you to collaborate. So with this, I'll just conclude my session. I hope you find it relevant.
All right, let's take a look in the Q&A.
Yeah.
We just have a comment/question from Dinesh, who asks, can you please share the example of Bob and Alice comparing salary without sharing salaries from some of the examples that you shared earlier?
You want to see that again?
Yeah, let's do a quick run through of that again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me show that again. So what is the concept here is that if you want to get the analysis, figure out that what is the overlap, as I have given you an example that I have age band, I have a zip code, location details, and basis on that, I did the overlap and figure out that for my customers who are in this zip code, what is their age and how many count of those customers. I got that detail, but I as a consumer have not got any detail from my provider that who is Mr. X or the Mr. Y, who are those individuals. those information has not been shared or exposed by my provider. Yet they are able to help me to identify overlap or the matching rate analysis. The same thing I tried to explain here in this example. So both guys, Alice and Bob, have certain wealth. The easiest way to identify who is richer, both have to declare that I have say 1 million, another one say that I have 1.25 million. Okay, 1.25 is greater, so the one who has 1.25 is richer. But while doing this process, what I'm doing that I'm exposing my wealth, I'm exposing my salary, which otherwise could be a private sensitive information. Not every organization would like to expose their kind of those I'll say that balance sheet figures which before declaring the quarter result. So they want to protect that, but yet if they want to do some certain analysis, how they can do that? So this is something that we try to explain with this academic scenario. So here, what the Bob has done that the internal users, they are allowed to see anything in their data. But those who are not the internal user, those who are not the account admin and Bob one, what will happen if they fire the query? Bob wants to restrict them. And this is what Bob is doing. Bob is saying that if the one who is firing the query, one who wants to know the detail, if it is not account admin or Bob, then it has to be a certain syntax, a certain template of query that should be allowed. And what the query that he has allowed is given here. So here it is comparing the wealth. It is not exposing the absolute wealth. It is just comparing the wealth. So when you compare the wealth, the other party won't get to know your exact PII data. So whether other party is male, female, plus 60 or less than 60 year of age, you can do those queries, but you cannot get the exact PII data. And this is what is required in most of the say overlap scenarios or most of this segmentation scenarios. So here, when Alice fired the query, which is approved by Bob, then Alice get the result. Still, Alice is not aware that what the exact wealth that Bob has, but at least Alice got an idea that it is more than 1.1 million. So this is what the further illustration that when Alice tried to fire any type of query. So again, if Bob has exposed as a simple data sharing, if Bob has exposed this table as a simple data sharing, Alice would have received all the records in this table. But here, it is more than a data sharing. It is the data clean room where Bob has put those row access policies in the name of query template. And the template that he has defined is something like this, where absolute wealth is not being exposed, yet Alice is able to fire this query and get the result. So hope I'm able to explain that.
Yes, excellent. I'm just taking a look through all of the questions that we have answered. And once again, to the audience, if you have any more questions, we'd love to answer them. We still have a couple of minutes before we drop off from the session, and we continue a few minutes later. At 1, we reconvene once again to talk a little bit more about how can you become a provider on the Snowflake marketplace. We'll have Michael and we'll have Venkat joining us. They'll walk you through all of the basics and then also give you a practical demonstration of how you can become a provider with Snowflake. But I'm just going through some of these questions over here. So there's a question from Sumuk who asks, can you explain multi-party overlap and how this works?
Okay. For that, I would highly recommend you. Means I'm not sure that how much you are comfortable with the Snowflake, but if you know the basics of SQLs, I would highly recommend you to go to Quick Start. Try to have some experiment and try with both these options. Even if you are not well versed with might be it will take some time for you to get comfortable with Snowflake. At least what I would request you to go through these documentation. These are pretty elaborated. Please go through here. It will explain you that what is the multi-party, how this exactly works, what is the kind of overlap that you can identify, and how you can improve that. In summary, let me show that slide again. So basically, let's take an example. I'm a sports brand, the example that I had given earlier. I have certain customers. I know their name, their mobile number. I know basis on the type of product they purchase, I can identify that whether they are a cricket fan or they are a footballer or golfer or whatever it is. So essentially, I have just these three attributes: name, mobile, and sports, favorite sports. I want to understand, let's assume that what is their travel profile. Whether they go to mountain for trekking or beach or whatever it is. I want to also understand what is their payment behavior, which typically payment gateways have. So I would like to collaborate with one of my payment gateway. I would like to collaborate with some of the travel agencies. And what will happen that I'll need to identify that those customers who are coming to my showroom purchasing, say, cricket balls or trekking shoes, if the same person is available on my payment gateway, who is the other party, if the same person is there on my travel portal, then what I will do that, maybe I have, say, 100 customers. One of the provider may have, say, 200 payment gateway, and travel agency might have, say, 150. But again, the 200 customer here and the 150 customer here may not become the 350. Because certain users who are traveling might be using the same payment gateway. So here it will be an overlap. And when we go with the multi-party, this kind of setup where you want to enrich your customer data using multiple providers, then what you have to understand that not all the customers would be unique. There would be certain customers who would be kind of duplicated at the multiple places. So while using this multi-party DCR setup, it will give you an idea that who are the unique customers, who are the customers available at both places. So these customers who are overlapping, might be you will get their payment gateway attributes as well as you will get their travel attributes both together. And might be that customer set would be of a different significance for you from your campaign team, from your activation perspective. Those could be a different segment for you as well.
Excellent, thank you. There's another question that Ritesh is starting to answer for. Yep, that's already answered. Just want to see if we have any last questions. We are almost at the top of the hour.
Can you explain a previous slide for a minute? I don't know which slide.
This was with the example of Bob and Alice.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Yeah.
All right. We've pretty much covered data clean rooms.
Fine.
We've covered data sharing versus DCR. If you'd want to reinforce maybe the very last slide on data sharing, data clean rooms. Yeah.
So the only thing is that when it comes to PII and sensitive data, there is a differentiation between data sharing and data clean room. So as long as you don't have any PII or sensitive data, go ahead with the data sharing piece. The moment it comes to sensitive data, PII data that you want to protect, then you'll have to choose that which option you'll have to consider. And still, if you are in doubt, call us. Let's schedule a meeting, one-to-one meeting, and understand your requirement and come up with a solution and go and work on the next step. Would love to hear more from you guys. If you have any kind of those data clean room requirement, or the campaign or ad marketing kind of requirement, or in the banking finance domain, if you have to have some protect some your sensitive data, yet have to collaborate with others. If you have this kind of requirement, happy to have a one-to-one discussion with your team.
All right, perfect. And with that, we are at the top of the hour. What we are going to do is, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a quick 10-minute break. Post the break, we have another session on how you can become a provider on the Snowflake Marketplace. Feel free to join us. It's an amazing session. It's going to be run by Michael Rhodes and Venkat Suru. We are going to see you in 10 minutes. In the meantime, I will grab myself a cup of tea because I think I'm in need of one. And once again, thank you so much, Navneet. Thank you so much for this wonderful session.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ritesh.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.